All right, welcome back to Strong Foundations for the Beginning Guitarist. We're going to jump around a little bit. Today we're going to learn some reading, standard notation, and we're also going to work on some chords. Okay, so first of all, let's all turn to page 21. Pitch notation. Now, music is written by placing notes on the staff. The parts of a note are as follows. You have, over here you have the head of a note, or you have the stem, or you have the flag. Now, all notes have heads, but not all of them have stems or flags. The head of the note sits on a line or a space on the staff. The staff looks like this. It has 5 lines and 4 spaces. Music is read from left to right, and at the beginning of a staff is a clef. The clef dictates what notes correspond to a particular line or space on the staff. Guitar music is written in treble clef. So all we read is treble clef, and that's also called G clef. And that ending curl of the clef circles the G line, stating that that is G. Notes on the staff. A quick, reliable way to begin reading music is to memorize the names of the lines and the names of the spaces separately. The higher or lower note is written on the staff, the higher or lower it sounds, and there are 5 lines and 4 spaces. The phrase, "every good boy does fine," will help you remember the line note names from low to high. So this is E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy does fine. Those are the lines. The word face contains the space notes from low to high. F, A, C, E. If you went in order, if it was line, space, etc., then it would be in alphabetical order. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. And that's the entire staff, and there's only 9 notes on the staff. There's a much bigger range on the guitar. So if you go to page 22, we accommodate for that range by using these ledger lines. So ledger lines show pitches above and below the staff. Ledger lines are easy to read, just as with the notes on the staff. Ledger lines are 3 notes apart in the musical alphabet. For example, look at the lowest ledger line E in the example below. The head sits below the lowest of 3 ledger lines. This means it's a space note. The next space up, with only 2 ledger lines, is a G. G is a 3rd note away from E in the musical alphabet, E, F, G. Let's check out the natural notes in open position of guitar. Now, this is something we've already done, but the middle diagram here where it shows the tablature on page 22, let's play that. So it is open E, 1st fret F, 3rd fret G, next string open A, 2nd fret B, 3rd fret C, open D, 2nd fret E, 3rd fret F, open G, 2nd fret A, open B, 1st fret C, 3rd fret D, open E, 1st fret F, and 3rd fret G. And that's the open position of the guitar. If you can memorize those 17 notes really well, then you guys are going to just be fine. Now here's how those same notes appear on the staff. E, F, G, A, B, C, D string, E, F, open G, A, the B string, C, D, the E string, F, G. So let's move on to page 23, where you can see those same notes. The reason why I was accenting those is because those are where the open strings are. And you can see here, those 3 notes, E, F, G, those are the thickest, those are the notes on the thickest string, on the 6th string, E, F, and G. E, F, G, like you played in that tablature part. Over here is the 5th string. You have open A, 2nd fret B, 3rd fret C. And here's where those notes are on the staff. On the 4th string, you have open D, here, E, 2nd fret, F, 3rd fret. And then over here you have G, and then 2nd fret is A, that note. And then on the 2nd string you have B, 1st fret C, and 3rd fret D. And finally on the 5th string you have E, F, and G. Let's go to page 24 now. So we haven't gone over note values much, but these are quarter notes. And what that means is basically that each note gets 1 beat. We'll go over more on that later, but for right now, we'll just pick each one. Now, you have open E on the 5th string, 1st fret F, and 3rd fret G. So let's just play the first 3 notes at the top of page 24. That first note is E, thinnest string. The next note is F, the first fret, and the next note after that is G, the third fret. Again, anytime you see that top space there, that's always going to be E. Anytime you see that note on the top line of the staff, that's always F. So as you read from here, you just have those notes kind of thrown at you randomly. So let's try reading the top line. And by the way, those are called systems. Each one of these is a system as we go. So we're going to read the top system where it says first string, notes in the first string, on page 24. 1, 2, ready, go, and E, F, G, F, open E, G, F, E, F, G, F, G, open E, G, F, E. Okay, pause it and try that again at your own speed. Let's go now to the second string. So where it's the second string, you have B, C, and D. So let's play the first note on that system. That's the B string, open, is that middle line of the staff. The next note, that third space of the staff, that's C. And then the fourth line of the staff is D, third fret of the B string. Let's try that whole system. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Open B, C, D, C, D, C, D, C, open B, C, D, 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 D. Again, pause it and practice that at your own pace. Okay, now let's do combinations of the first and second string. So you have B, C, D, and you have E, F, and G. Okay, 6 notes so far. Let's try that. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go, and B, C, D, C, D, C, D, open E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D, C. Good. Pause that and practice at your own speed. Okay, let's go now to the fourth system on page 24, where we have combinations of first and second strings again. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. C, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, F, G, F, E, D. Okay, great. Go ahead and pause that and practice it again. Now let's go on to the third string. And you have 2 notes. Open G, second fret A. So here we go. Let's read through that. 1, 2, ready, go. G, A, G, A, G, 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 A, G, A, G, Excellent. Now let's move on to the next system, which is second and third strings combined. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go, and G, A, B, C, B, A, G, A, B, C, B, C, B, A, G. Excellent. Now for the last system on page 24, we have first, second, and third strings. Let's try that. 1, 2, ready, go, and B, A, G, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, Okay, go ahead and pause it and go back if you need to keep working on those. Let's move on to page 27 and start going over some rhythm. So, first of all, time signatures. At the beginning of any piece of music, you'll find the time signature. The top number indicates how many beats per measure. The bottom number tells you what kind of note gets one beat. The most common time signature is called 4/4 time. It's so common that it's actually called common time as well, and it's shown with just a C at the beginning of some pieces of music. Instead of writing 4/4, they'll just write a C. The way that this works is the top number, it looks kind of like a fraction. The top number tells you how many beats there are per measure, and the bottom number tells you what gets a beat. So for instance, 4/4 means that there are 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets a beat. If it were 4/8, it would mean there are 4 beats per measure. The eighth note gets a beat. If it were 4/2, 4 beats per measure, and the half note gets a beat. Let's go through note values now. So notes can have many durations. The lengths of those durations are not given in seconds, but in values relating to the beat or pulse of music, which can then stay constant regardless of speed or tempo. All values are in relation to 4/4 time. So whole note is called a whole note not because it lasts for a whole beat, but because it lasts for 4 beats, or a whole measure of 4/4. So let's check out those different values. First of all, let's go through the note values, which it starts out with a whole note that lasts for 4 beats. A half note lasts for 2 beats, and you can see there that the stems can go up or down. Generally, stems go up if it's below the middle line of the staff, which is B, and stems go down if it's above that. So a half note lasts 2 beats, a quarter note lasts 1 beat, so you can see it's filled in. An eighth note lasts for a half of a beat. So if the pulse is here, it divides it in half. Da, 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 da. And when there are 2 or more eighth notes together, a lot of times they're beamed. So as you can see, there are some beams there. And then at the bottom you have 16th notes. 16th notes last a quarter of a beat. So they divide the pulse and subdivide the pulse into ticka 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 ticka. And we would count it 1 E into 2 E into 3 E into 4 E into. 16th are also beamed. So you not only have durations of sound, but you also have durations of silence, and those are called rests. To the right are some rest values. There's a whole rest, which lasts for 4 beats, a half rest, which lasts 2 beats, a quarter rest lasts 1 beat, an eighth note lasts, should actually say eighth rest, lasts a half a beat, and then a 16th rest lasts a half of a beat. So turn on to page 28. Ties. Now you can also increase the length of a note by using a tie to connect it to another note. When the 2 are tied, the value of the second note is added to the first. For instance, a half note tied to a quarter note would last 3 beats, since a half note gets 2 beats and a quarter note gets 1. So this is often used to go over bar lines too. If you have a song that is in 4/4 and you want a note to last 2 bars, 8 counts, you would have, if you would play a chord like, and that would last 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And then the next chord, it would be whole notes tied to whole notes to last that, those 8 beats. Another way to increase the length of a note is by adding a dot. A dot placed after any note increases the value of the note by 1/2. So the dot just tells you that it adds half of the value of that note. A quarter note, which normally gets 1 beat, if you added a dot, then it would now last 1.5, because it adds half of the value, which is half. If it was a whole note, which lasts 4 beats, half of 4 is 2, so you add it to it and you get 6. If it was a half note, normally that gets 2 beats, and half of 2 is 1, so it becomes 3. Okay? And that's the way that dots work. So please go to page 29, and I'd like you guys to fill out the top line of how many beats do these notes receive. Just write that in, okay? And all of the answers for this are obviously on page 27. Go ahead and mute the strings for a moment, like that. And we're just going to practice strumming a rhythm here. Instead of clapping the following rhythms, we're going to strum. Just make sure you're not pressing down too hard. I want it to barely be down. And let's sound out this rhythm on page 29. So that rhythm goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Let's try that together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go ahead and pause this and practice that at your own pace. Let's go to page 31 now. Chords. All right, when reading chords for the guitar, there's a notation called a chord diagram. In that chord diagram, you can see it's sort of like the neck is in this shape, where the neck generally is at the top unless there was a fret number written to the side of it. The strings are going vertically down and the frets are going horizontally across. And you press down where the dots show you. Above that is sometimes some X's, some zeros, and some numbers. And the X tells you what strings you don't strum. The zeros are just for open strings, and then the numbers are telling you what finger you use at the location of the dot. Let's start out with two of the easiest chords, E minor and A minor, and that's at the bottom of page 31. Okay, so E minor just uses two fingers, your middle finger and your ring finger. Okay. So everybody practice that chord. Now notice both of those are on the same fret. And you strum all the strings. So everybody practice that chord and make sure that you can get a good tone on it. Okay, now let's go to A minor. Notice for A minor, you don't strum the thickest string. So go ahead and pause this and practice your A minor chord. Okay, now let's practice transitioning between E minor and A minor. So you'll notice that both these fingers, they just move down one string, and then you put your index finger down on the first fret of the B string. And one of the most important ways to do a transition smoothly is to move your fingers together as one unit, as opposed to putting one finger down and then putting the next finger down, putting the next finger down. It's much faster if you put them all down at once. First, just practice moving back and forth from E minor to A minor. Go ahead and pause and practice that for a moment. Okay, good. Now I'd like you to do 4 even strums between each chord, and try not to pause between it at all. So it'd be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 1. Switch. Good. Okay, go ahead and practice that at your own pace. And that pretty much concludes today's lesson. I'll see you guys on the next one.